Hey, real quick, Mike, just for you, really, these umpires, refs, all sports, why aren't they made available to the media? Like Meredith, why can't Meredith interview them after the games? The players have to answer for every mistake they made. Why'd you throw this pitch 3-2? Even you, Michael, you said something the other day that they didn't like, and the media picked up on about the baseball.
Right.
Make these umpires face the music on camera. Like, they should be available to media after games.
I agree. Now, if there's a real bad call, James, like a really bad call that affects the game, there is what they allow is a pool reporter. One writer is chosen out of all the people covering the game to speak to the umpire or the crew chief. Then they give their reasoning, and then that writer disseminates the information to everybody. So no one gets an exclusive or anything like that. But it'd be nice to get their face on TV too.
I will say this, though.
Why do we, as a rights holder, not have the opportunity to stick a mic in an umpire's face that made a bad call?
I will say this, though. I think if you're going to do that, they kind of deserve a raise.
Why?
I just think if you're going to put a target on them where they now have to speak to the media regularly and be so front-facing about every mistake that happens, when it's a given mistakes are going to happen, I don't know. To me, that becomes a more expensive job.
Well, they had an answer yesterday. It's only like yesterday, Fred Katz of The Athletic was the pool reporter. So he met with the head official, the head ref. And that's the same thing that happens in baseball. They know they have to answer to a bad call. And when they don't, then you start to wonder, well, why won't they answer questions?
I hear you. It's just, to me, that adds a new layer to their job, sitting there and answering questions like every player does. Those players are paid exceptionally well to do that.
You know what? According to the average Joe and Jane, these officials make a heck of a lot of money, too.
True.
They make about $300,000 a year.
You are adding a layer to their job. Like we always say, hey, it's the job of a player to speak to the media. And they get paid accordingly, because they've got to, after their job, which makes their job harder, to have to answer on why they gave up the home run or the touchdown or the goal or the whatever. Peter's right. I don't know how much, but there's probably a little extra you would have to pay them to be held accountable, speak to the media. I'd like to see it. I really would. There's so many questions that we end up asking a coach or a player about. I hate asking questions to someone that is not the person I should be asking it to, right? It always, like, why am I asking Robert Saleh why somebody was cut or why somebody was drafted? That's for the general manager. But we don't get to talk to Joe Douglas, so we have to ask Robert Saleh. Why should I have to ask a coach or a player why a call was made or why it wasn't made? I want to be able to ask it to the person that didn't make the call or made the call.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I've said this in baseball, too. Why do managers have to talk about injuries? Have the trainer come out and talk about the injury. Have the team doctor. Why are you putting that on Carlos Mendoza and Aaron Boone to sit there and opine on injuries and when they're going to come back? Have the professionals come out.
I just think everybody that's involved in the sport should be available to answer questions. I'm not saying for all day, but there's press conferences. Or all of the officials or somebody representing the officials. Like in baseball, the crew chief should be able to answer whatever questions.